the bucket system for the Valero Texas Open. So I need to find a faster way to do this. I mean, you can follow along with me on the cheat sheet, by the way. And as I go bucket by bucket, you can apply the same filters that I'm going to apply. So obviously you find your filter, go down to the bucket system, and I'm clearing everything out and only selecting last year. Hopefully you understand how this works. We're looking at the projections for each of these buckets, really kind of comparing how many golfers there usually are per year versus how many they are this week. Kind of looking at, you know, our conservative max projection as well, and maybe frequency rates of top 10s, frequency rates of optimal lineups, and trying to figure out what our best plays are. So this very first bucket, last year ones, this is that 1 to 20 range. So golfers who top 20 last year, on average, or at least every single year, we've had 2 golfers finish inside the top 10, but no more than 3. My projection is 0 to 2. We have 12 golfers in that bucket this year, so not as many, where we typically see about 18. And at least 1 golfer from this bucket has been in the optimal lineup every single year. So if you go to the cheat sheet and you put that filter on, we can go to this last year bucket, clear everybody, but only select last year ones, and take a look at our golfers. Not pretty. Siwoo Kim, $9,700. $9,200 Matt Kuchar. Your returning or your defending champion, JJ Spawn, who is $8,900. And then it's $7K and lower. This is not sexy by any means. However, it's also not a bad thing. Remember, every single optimal lineup left around $5,000. Well, not $5,000, but anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000 on the table. That was because a lot of 7 and 6K golfers were in the optimal lineup. So this bucket doesn't, I mean, honestly, I do not feel confident about this bucket whatsoever. The fact that it's Siwoo, Matt Kuchar, and JJ Spawn that lead it, and then it drops to Brennan Todd, Beau Hosler, it makes my skin crawl. There's no way I like that bucket. Now the projection is 0 to 2. Keep that in mind. And the projection takes into account the strength of field points that are in there. It does include the success rate, which is incorporating all golfers that have ever been in this bucket. How many show up inside the top 10? 14%. So it's not a very good percentage, but what's kind of sexy are these frequency rates, where we see 1 to 2 in the optimal lineup every year, 2 to 3 in the top 10. Now, this is where if your superstition really gets in play, you're kind of looking at this going, well, we see it every single year. Maybe we need to do it this year as well. I'm going to keep the projection 0 to 2. I think that's fair. And with how bad the grouping of golfers in this bucket is, I'm keeping it there. Let's move on to the next one. I have a projection of 0 to 1 last year 2s. I'm not going to go through all of the, at least this many golfers inside the top 10, their frequency rates or anything like that. I'm going to leave that up to you, because I think this is how we speed it up. 0 to 2 last year 2s. Honors, Chris Kirk, Aaron Rai, Adam Long, Martin Laird. I'm probably not grabbing 2 golfers from here. I'm probably only grabbing a max of 1. But I could see myself building some Corey Connors, Chris Kirk lineups. I'd be okay with that. And if I do that, I'm not playing these 3 golfers. A max of 2. So I think you play 1 more often than you play 2. And what that would look like is if you had 10 lineups and you were certain you wanted to grab at least 1 golfer from this bucket. In about 7 of them, I'm only grabbing 1. Whether it's Corey, Chris, Aaron Rai, Adam Long, Martin Laird. And then the remaining 3, I will do a mixture of 2. So whether that's Corey Connors, Chris Kirk, or Chris Kirk, Aaron Rai, or maybe you just pair up Aaron Rai with one of these 6K golfers, that would be fine. I don't care what it is. Just know, not a high probability of 2 golfers from this bucket being inside the top 10. So just grab 1. I feel like that's probably the best way to go. Last year 3s, that 40 to 60 range, more golfers than we typically see. again, I'll leave this to you to analyze this stuff. But if we were to take a look at our last year 3 bucket, Putnam, Rogers, Lonto Griffin, Luke. So another low confidence bucket that I'm probably not choosing a lot of golfers for. Like I'm cool with just selecting one of these guys and moving on. And of course, we'll take a look at, marquee tee times tomorrow, the sweet spot ranks, try to figure out, maybe 1, maybe 2. We'll see. But as I see it now, I just want 1. Last year 4s, 0 to 1 as well. That's that 60 to 80 range. Now, this is kind of like the dead man zone. Typically, golfers from this bucket don't do well, and it doesn't matter what tournament it is. So that 60 to 80 range includes golfers Davis Riley, Ben Martin, Austin Smotherman. So I think, 0 to 1 is a good projection. 0 to 2 is the actual projection, but only maxing out at 1 golfer here I think is fine. Seeing I'm kind of okay with Doc Redman this week. But I mean, if I'm playing 100 lineups, I'm playing them at max 2. And what I mean, so to kind of double down on what I mean by I'm okay playing them, is I don't mind putting them in like the $5 GPP. That's fine. If I'm only gonna have like 2% exposure to them, I could put them in one of those high entry fee lineups for me, because I think that's he's a pretty decent wild card. Like, I don't mind that. Russell Knox, maybe not so much. But I really before seeing this bucket, if I was to build lineups with Davis Riley, Ben Martin, and Austin Smotherman in it, I wouldn't have minded. Like, I think these names, they're great names. I do like Davis Riley this week because it is a Southern golf course. He home state's Mississippi, went to college in Alabama. I think this is perfect stomping grounds for him. Also, Ben Martin has that nickname of Bermuda Benny. It's not Bermuda grass. I forgot to mention that in the course breakdown or the course information part of this video. I actually don't include any of the grass stats. So I wouldn't mind playing Ben Martin at $7,100. That seems like a pretty decent value. But that's all I'm going to talk about this last year 3 bucket, or last year 4 bucket. Very interesting nonetheless. Missing the cut last year. Not a high success rate, but there are 35 golfers in it where we normally see 30. The projection is 1 to 3, and that's exactly what we typically see year in and year out inside the top 10, but not quite 100% frequency in the optimal lineup. So golfers who missed the cut or withdrew, that is also included in this bucket. Hideki Matsuyama here at the top, as well as Ricky Fowler. And then we have the Cross Punta Cana winner in Matt Wallace, Adam Schenk, and then it drops from 7K and down. 1 to 3, I think, is a great projection. I actually don't mind starting a lot of my lineups. Well, first of all, I really like Ricky Fowler this week, but so does a lot of people. Or so do a lot of people. Hideki Matsuyama is not a bad play. I'm going to be very leery in Hello? All right. Something just happened. Hopefully I wasn't talking and you couldn't hear me for too long, but just know there was an issue. So what I was saying is, Hideki Matsuyama, there is an injury concern. He withdrew from the match play. No idea why. He's been battling a neck injury for the longest period of time. I think we saw him getting massaged at the match play event. They were working on his neck. They're massaging it. There's something wrong with his neck. I don't think that's to be trifled with. He has a very long history of not performing well at this tournament. The Game Theory boys, they will be all over Matsuyama this week, and that's fine. I think if you want leverage, this is the way you get it, because I think a lot of people are going to have the same concerns that I do. And I think they're rightful concerns. You should have those concerns. if you're someone who, and by the way, I don't advocate for this, but if you're someone who's like, I don't want, like, I'm kind of spending a lot of my money on these DraftKings lineups, I can't afford to lose, then don't play Matsuyama. And I don't want you to be that type of guy. If you are that type of person, by the way, it's your life, you do as you will, but don't go out of your means when it comes to doing DraftKings. Personally, for me, Matsuyama is reserved for my dime time lineups. I do not care what type of leverage he has. I am not a game theory boy. I don't care. He will be in dime time, and that's it. I will not be investing a lot of money on Hideki Matsuyama, but I do want exposure to him in case, he does break through and do well at this tournament. I do like Ricky Fowler, so I have no issue putting him in my high entry fee lineups. Probably not really going back to Matt Wallace, or not going to Matt Wallace. He said some cute things while winning the Cross Punta Cana about self-talk and all that jazz. I don't care. I don't care if his self-talk is more improved for this tournament. Cross Punta Cana is different. Not much different than this event, but still it's different. I will play some of him, but I'm not jumping and trying to play more of him. And then there are some decent names here. I'll reserve these for the strategy video to see which golfers show up more often than not. Obviously, it's going to be based off of the rankings that you can see over here. So, like Trail Mullinax is a pretty good value. Looks like Lee Hodges isn't terrible, and I don't mind playing Lee Hodges. Matthew Neesmith might be a sneaky play, and he's probably going to show up a lot in my optimizer, which is fine. He's played well here before. He has a top 10 at this event. Yeah, let's move on. I don't want to spend too much time in this bucket. Our last ones are the did not play bucket from last year. So golfers who did not play, including rookies, including golfers who've never played here before. Tyrrell Hatton is the top price guy in the field, but also in this bucket. Taylor Montgomery, number 2. I think Taylor Montgomery is very, very talented, but his swing is absolutely disgusting. You don't know, I give lessons. I'm a very technical golfer. I give golf lessons. I understand different points in the golf swing. I know where you want to get to A1. I know how to get to A2, A3, A4. All those, I know what a picture perfect golf swing looks like, and I know how golfers get there. Not all golfers have a picture perfect golf swing. They don't need one. Montgomery's issues at the match play, to me, are a result in how bad his swing looks. And let me just be more specific. How steep his swing is. I don't, it's like he has this weird squat in his golf swing, and it looks like the timing is just absolutely horrendous. I talked about this, not so much in this technical detail, back during the American Express, where it's like he was hitting his wedge shots into greens, and it just looked like he collapsed every single time that he made contact with the ground. His arms collapsed behind him. It just doesn't look good. He's obviously good. $9,900, DraftKings values him. He has great results. That golf swing is not an elite golf swing. It just isn't. I'm not saying he can't win. It's just my confidence level with him to be number 2 in my model, which he currently is, $9,900. That seems like a really steep investment for someone I have very little confidence in. And I think he hits the ball a mile off the tee, which is, that's obviously with me, what I talk about every single week. Step 1 when it comes to the potential of a golfer. Then he can roll in the ball from anywhere on the green. That's pretty good too. However, how he gets to the green, that's problematic. And I wouldn't even say like, you could look at his strokes gain stats and it's, whatever. To me, I don't think you're going to really find answers when looking at strokes gain stats unless you really know what to look at. But yeah, his approach numbers are terrible. Good off the tee, terrible approach, really good putter. And because this is 7,500 yards, he's going to have a bunch of approach shots that are going to be lengthy. And I do not, I'll repeat this, I do not find his game on approach to be advantageous. I'm just going to avoid playing him for the most part. I'll still talk about this in my strategy video about the my strategy that I'm going to implement, which will include playing 9K golfers, and Taylor Montgomery will be one of them. But this is my PSA for you when it comes to Taylor Montgomery. Play with caution. Ryan Fox is the other 9K golfer. Sure, he made it to the match play. He's, 36th in the world. I don't like his golf swing either. Not that that's a big deal when it comes to just providing results on DraftKings, but Ryan Fox, I don't think so. I won't be playing him. For me to play him, he needs to be in the 7K range or low 8K range just to consider. 23rd in my model, and we'll talk about sweet spot ranks tomorrow. Not great. Alex Noren, Ben Griffin. I like Ben Griffin. Third in my model, $8,700. I think we can go back to Ben Griffin. I think this is a good play. Same with Thomas Dietrich. Fourth in my model, $8,400. I think that's a good play. And I'm not going to talk about the rest of these guys, but, our projection is what? Already forgot. 2 to 4. And that stays the same when we kind of incorporate the sweet spot ranks and stuff like that. So yeah, 2 to 4 is pretty good. I'm pretty comfortable with picking maybe 3 golfers from this bucket. And the fact that we have a bunch of good 8K golfers and some 7K golfers on here, like Taylor Pendrith, I don't mind going back to him. We'll talk about him a little bit later. But yeah, no issues whatsoever with these buckets. So that wraps up the last year buckets. If you're following along with me, go ahead and select clear everything from the buckets, and let's go to the last week buckets. Last week 1, projections 1 to 3. Now, hopefully you understood what we talk about in the last year buckets to come here with the last week buckets. I'm not going to go over all these projections or anything like this, but 1 to 3 last year or last week ones. Come to, if you're on the cheat sheet, go to the dream sheet portion of it. Clear out everyone in the last week, column H, or whatever it ends up being for you. I think it's not column H for you guys. Just the last week bucket. And go to last week ones. And again, our projection is 1 to 3. So I don't mind starting with Ricky Fowler or Corey Connors. So okay. These are all golfers who... This is not supposed to include... This is not supposed to include match play. Match play is difficult to include. Okay. How? So the buckets are grabbing golfers from... Let's see, hold on. I'm supposed to have 18 in that bucket. And if I go to... There's not 18 here. There's 9. Let's double check something really quick. This, oh yeah, this has to be going off of... All right, here's what we're gonna do. Do this, and everyone who played in the match play is gonna get a 6. I'm sorry for... Wait a second. Why are the Corrales Punta Cana guys not up here? All right, so this needs to be updated. Yeah, okay. I think I know what happened. You know what, though? Here we go. I know a really quick fix. So I only want to include the Corrales Punta Cana. Really hard to quantify the match play and how the results happen there. Plus 20th place, like inside the 20 is like 17th place, like I was talking about earlier. That didn't leave group play. So I don't want to include that at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Perfect. And I'll have to update the cheat sheet to also reflect this. But now that I have all this, I can color code it while you guys are here with me. Again, I apologize. But we'll have accurate last week bucket numbers. I mean, this is based off of the other sheet I was just showing you, so it's going to be accurate based off of my bucket system page. But then, of course, now I have to do all of these updates. Take too long? So basically, if you're interested in how I'm doing this, I am looking, so you can copy one cell that has a value in it, and I'm clicking the one right below it, and I'm holding shift left click because I have a ton of columns over here on the left side that if I were just to scroll over, I'm going to lose my place. So I'm holding shift right now. I'm still holding shift. But you can click in whatever box you want for it to select all of them. And then I go back and just select under the last week column, right click, paste special, values only, and now they all switch 5. If I were to not put values only and I actually just pasted it, everything will get matched with this green color, this 5, and I don't want that. So that's why I keep it like that. Actually, this would be 6. And all my match play guys and even the golfers who didn't play last week get 6s. Perfect. So now that we have this updated, and again, I will update this on the cheat sheet before you even see this video. Before you even get to this part, it'll already be updated. So we clear the last week buckets, select one, and we have our 18 golfers, perfect, that are actual last week ones. This doesn't include match play. I don't include match play in this. Match play is its own thing. Like I was just mentioning, I'm not sure how to quantify match play, especially when golfers who didn't get out of group play. You have to include a whole different bucket for that. Like I did during match play, like just to show you what match play looks like. The buckets. You see how I have for last year buckets? 1 to 4, 5, 9, 16 to 32, 32 plus did not play. For my last year buckets, this is all to incorporate the match play aspect of it. My normal bucket system goes by every 20th place. I can't just include one portion of match play and then Corrales Punta Cana as well, because then I'd have I'd have to have my own last week buckets for each of them, and there's just no point in that. Every single year that I've done this, the very next tournament after match play, I do not include match play results in the last week bucket, just so you're aware. And again, I record this every single year. My buckets are usually 33 to 36 correct. So I just don't see why I'd want to include them. Okay. Now that we have everything updated, this has updated as well. Remember it said 1 to 3? This is including the strength of field points. So now it's 0 to 2. 0 to 2 last week ones. That also updates as well, which I absolutely love, and it should. It includes your winner, Matt Wallace, Nikolai Højgaard, all of these golfers. You want 1 to 3 of them, or I'm sorry, 0 to 2 of these guys. And I think that's perfectly fine. I kind of was like, I don't really care for Matt Wallace. 44th in my model, 8,500. Thomas Dietrich is still 4th because I think Thomas Dietrich is a better golfer than Matt Wallace. $8,400. And I like Dietrich here better. I also like him better than Højgaard. I'll probably play Sam Stevens. I think that's a good play. Probably not Nick Hardy. And then the rest of these guys, I don't mind getting to one way or the other. So I'm not going to talk about all of them, but 0 to 2, I think that's a proper projection. Last week 2s, that 20 to 40 range for the Cross Punta Cana. 0 to 2 is the projection here. The actual technical one is 0 to 1, but 0 to 2 is fine. Akshay Bhatia, 7,000. I like that. I like him here. 13th in my model, $7,000. He's definitely the better value, the best value that I have. I could probably get to most of these guys. Maybe not all of them, but most of them. And again, 0 to 2. I think that's a perfect projection. 0 to 2. Last week 3s, we also have 0 to 2 as our projection. 10 golfers in that bucket this week. Not so many great golfers in the bucket. Let me just scroll over. One guy who cracks the top 125 in the OWGR, Erik van Rooyen. And then some very volatile golfers. 0 to 2 is the projection, but I think 1 is the max, and we probably ignore most of the guys down here. Maybe just play them once and then move on. Last week 4s, 0 to 2 is the projection. There are only 4 golfers in there, but really it's a very low projection. 0.09 to 0.14. Last week 4s. Let's see who's in it. Pendrith, Grillo, Werblow, and Gligic. Interesting. I would have probably put Pendrith and Grillo together. I wouldn't have had an issue with that, but I will be putting 0 to 1 as actually my projection for this bucket. I might play one lineup with Pendrith and Grillo in it. That's it. I will not do more than that. This projection is what it is because of the golfers that have come from this bucket. Last week 5s, 80 plus. That's your miscut at the Cross Punta Cana. Does that matter? I don't know. We usually see 12, or we usually see 29 golfers in that bucket. We have 12 this week. Patrick Rogers, Hoffman, Long, decent names. 0 to 2 is the projection. I could also get behind just picking one of these guys, and that's it. That's fine. And then the last bucket are golfers who actually didn't play last week in any of the events, but also this includes match play golfers as well. Hard to quantify match play. That's why I put them in bucket 6. You know, sue me if you want to, criticize me if you want to. This is just how it's going to be done this week, and I've done it every single year. So the projection is what, 3 to 6. I always have a 3-point gap if 6 is the max projection, but really I'm looking at 5 to 8 that I project to be inside the top 10 from this bucket. Yeah, I mean, you could probably build a full lineup with golfers from this bucket. Is it smart? I don't know. But you can see you basically have the whole gamut of golfers to choose from. So those are your last week buckets. And again, I apologize for it taking forever to update. Last week, we go to course history buckets after that. Course history 1s, having really, really, really good course history. So any average finishing position between 0 to 20, or 1 to 20, I should say. 0 to 1 of those golfers. We only have 3. Of course, there's a 2-point gap always when it comes to the projections. Let's see who our course history 1 guys are. Connors, Van Rooyen, and Matthias Schwab. Well, I'll be playing Connors. I don't so much care for Van Rooyen or Schwab. I won't play them together. I'll say that for sure. I don't care. Connors, I think, is definitely the play outside of Van Rooyen and Schwab. Course history 2. This does technically say 1 to 2. Remember, we want a 2-point gap, and we always want to round down in our minimum projection when we can. Well, this already rounds down to 1. To get a 2-point gap from our max projection of 2, we bring this down to 0. So it's really 0 to 2 is our projection. I think that's fine. Of course, we see at least 1 in the optimal lineup every year, at least 2 inside the top 10, but we have about 5 less golfers than we typically do. Take a look at our course history 2 golfers. Fowler, Siwoo Kim, Chris Kirk, Kuchar, Rai, Todd. Those are 7,900 and above. Yeah, I don't mind getting to some of these guys. Like Fowler's fine, Siwoo Kim's fine. I don't mind even playing Chris Kirk or even Matt Kuchar. So our projection, what was 0 to 2 technically? Yeah, I don't mind playing at least one of these guys. So maybe in my optimizer, I select my minimum. I won't send this to you guys, but I won't send it to you guys this way, but I might switch my minimum to 1 and make sure I select at least one guy from this bucket. I think that's fine. I think just the 4 that I've selected have a very high probability of finishing inside the top 10. So I don't mind doing that. Course history 3s, 1 to 3 is our projection, and everything looks to be, that's a fine projection. Starts with Hideki Matsuyama, who I'll probably play very sparingly. JJ Spawn, which I don't mind going back to, but I'll probably play sparingly. Same goes with Matt Wallace. This is a bucket that I'll probably just play equal. I don't really like it, honestly. 1 to 3, having to select 1 to 3 golfers. I don't think I will stick to that. Man, that's hard. I mean, buckets are usually, you know, don't really see anything less than 31 out of 36 buckets correct. Usually we see the average is 33 out of 36. Last week at the Crowds Punta Cana, as well as the WGC match play, they were 100% correct. Well, 34 to 36 for the Crowds Punta Cana. This could be the bucket that I think fails. If it's telling me 1 to 3, I do not trust Matsuyama. I don't think, even though Spawn is a defending champ, I don't think he's good enough to, you know, I mean, the probability of him being inside the top 10 is very low. Same goes with Matt Wallace, and then we have all these other names. Oh man. Well, let's see here. Let me do this tonight. That way I won't do it tomorrow night. If I had to create one lineup and I had to select one golfer from any of these, which golfers would I be okay playing? And if it was just one lineup, which golfers would it be okay playing? JJ Spawn, despite what I just said, I'd be okay playing him. I'd also be okay playing Schenk, Putnam, Benny Ann, Ben Martin, Neesmith, I already said I would play. Don't mind Troy Merritt. Stuart Sink I'd play. I did say I'd play Doc Redman in a high entry fee GPP, but I don't know. I think this is it. So I have 8 golfers selected. That's fine. 8 golfers. If you were to have at least one of these 8 golfers in each one of your lineups, and you created like 100 lineups, well, let's just do 8. 8 times 12 is 96. That's your percentage. 12%. You're like, if you had at least one of these golfers in each of your lineup, 12% would be your exposure for each of these golfers. Some would have 13, but it's going to be between 12 to 13. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with owning 12% Troy Merritt. I'm cool with owning 12% Sink, Neesmith, Ben Martin, Benny Ann, Putnam, Schenk, JJ Spawn. I'm cool with that. That's all right. I'm okay with that. That works out for me. And of course, I'll play some Matsuyama, but I don't like it. So 1 to 3, that's a projection. That's fine. That is fine. Course history 4 is 0 to 2 because of our rules that we have in place when it comes to projections. Davis Riley, Cameron Davis, 2 Davises. Interesting. I don't mind playing either of those guys. So despite this being 0 to 2, but of course, technically it's 1 to 2, I don't mind playing either one of those guys. And some of these other guys, I don't mind playing. 0 to 2, really? 35 golfers in it. Very low success rate. That's probably what's really driving it. Not a very low frequency rate. That's a pretty high frequency rate to be inside the top 10. That's nuts. 35 we said? Yep, 35 golfers. A lot of these 6K golfers you just cross out. Don't even think about. But like just potential wise, Will Gordon I think is a great name. I actually don't mind going to Austin Smotherman. I think that's fine. Doug Gim fell off my rankings map. That's crazy. Cam Champ 65th in the model. That's weird. That is really weird. Mullinax, I don't mind playing. I also don't mind playing Rogers. Maybe not so much Sepstraka. I do like Ryder. I like Davis, and I like Davis. Cam Davis and Davis Riley. And those are 7 golfers, so that's 14% exposure. I don't mind going with any of those guys. That's pretty good. Course history 5s, 0 to 2. Not a lot of golfers in there. I don't really care. These are golfers who average a missed cut at this event. Could just have played it one time, and that would have been last year. Smalley, Buckley, those are great names just there. 0 to 2 is is it 0 to 2? 0 to 2 is the projection for this bucket, and I can pinpoint some golfers I like. Smalley, Buckley, Hardy maybe. I like Eckroat. I like Hickok. I like Batia. I like Hodges. That's hard. I could probably ignore the rest of the guys. I mean, Justin Lauer, I don't mind. And it's Lauer, not Lower. It's Lauer. Interesting. Okay, so I've got 7 golfers. I don't mind playing any one of those 7. Even like Hardy and Higo, sure. I don't mind that either. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. 0 to 2 is that projection. Maybe you just keep it 0 to 1 and just pick one of those guys here and there. Course history 6s, 1 to 3. And again, these are projections inside the top 10 that I project to be inside the top 10. I already saw some names that I like, but these are golfers who've never played this tournament dating back to 2013. Hatton, he's dangerous. So is Montgomery. I don't really care for Fox or Noren. Really like Ben Griffin. Really like Dietrich. Hendrith I like. S.H. Kim I like. Sam Stevens I like. I don't mind MJ Duffy. I know it says Mathis or Matthias here, but it's MJ. Or maybe it's just Maddie. I don't know. There's some good names here. Like a ton of good names. Even Bazane, I don't mind, but ugh. 1 to 3, by the way. 1 to 3. I could see playing 3 of these guys without any issue. So keep that in mind. And I think that projection is pretty good. So that covers our course history buckets. Moving on to our recent form buckets. 0 to 1 recent form 1s. Fowler, Ryan Fox, Nikolai Højgaard, and Kevin Chappell. So it's 0 to 2 technically, but honestly, maxing out at 1 I think is what you want to do here. I like Fowler. I've already stated this before. He is obviously on the preview thumbnail. Fowler I like. Probably could deal without the rest. Don't care. 0 to 2 recent form 2s. Hatton, Siwoo, oh, there's a lot of good names here. 0 to 2 is a good one, even with Akshay down here. So here's a great bucket to look at. Why I like the bucket system is it limits bad plays. So putting 3 or more of these guys together, probably not the way to go. So if you liked Hatton, you like Ben Griffin, and you want to, pair them up with Akshay Bhatia or MJ Duffy, David Lingmerth, Ben Martin, probably not the best way to do it. So 0 to 2, that's the projection. 3 to 6. Okay, here's what I'll do. So I think I'll keep it 3 to 6. I always look at this conservative max projection just to see what this number is. 4.06, I round up to 5. And then that's where I draw my 2-point gap for the minimum projection. So this goes down to 3, which is already consistent with what the minimum projection is. So really, it's 3 to 6 recent form 3s. 59 golfers in that bucket, so maybe that's why the projection's so high. Recent form threes. Matsuyama, Connors, Taylor Montgomery, which we were just talking about, Davis Riley. It'll be really interesting to build lineups with the optimizer because there are a lot of golfers that are kind of overlapping, and there's some golfers that are in one bucket that you only want, 0 to 1 in, and now they're in a bucket where it's 3 to 6. So if you choose one of those golfers that are in the bucket from 3 to 6 that are also in a bucket that are 0 to 1, that means the other golfers in that bucket you don't want to play. Now, there's not a large amount of those, but I guarantee you some of them are also in this bucket. So it really limits the way you can build lineups. And again, that's why I like the bucket system. I love it, actually. So lots of good names here. 3 to 6, yeah, you could build a whole lineup using the golfers from the recent form 3 bucket, and I think you'd be okay. I mean, that's what the projection says, 3 to 6. Probably stay somewhere between 3 to 5, though, if I'm being honest. Recent form 4s, 0 to 2. Starts with Alex Noren, I don't care for. Davis Thompson at 8,100, I probably don't care for there. But Taylor Pendrith I like. I like Alex Smalley. Don't mind Emiliano Grillo. Don't mind Patrick Rogers. Don't mind Trey Mullinax. Austin Eckroat's a fine play. Bramlett I don't mind getting to. Some good names here. Nothing's like really telling me I need to play a golfer from here. And the projection's 0 to 2. Technically, it's 1 to 2, but again, that 2-point buffer drops the 1 down to a 0. Yeah, if I was told I had to play someone from this bucket, Pendrith is at the top of my list, followed by Smalley. I would play those two guys in a heartbeat. And then I don't mind being a glutton for punishment and playing Patrick Rogers or even Trey Mullinax. Hayden Buckley, by the way, forgot to even, I casually passed by him, but I don't mind playing someone like him. Or even like a Ryan Palmer. So, anyways, enough good golfers from this bucket to want to play. The next two buckets are 0 to 2, recent form 5, recent form 6. These are your worst recent form golfers. I think you probably can ignore them. But recent form 5s, Lonto's up there. Remember, he's battling a back injury. Pump your brakes on playing him. I already talked about Sink that I like playing and Merritt. Now I won't play them together. Quite frankly, I won't play them together. Same goes with the rest of the golfers on this list. No, I'm not. No one here is screaming, have me play them. And I am not going to advocate to play any of these guys. Like I'm not going to one way or the other. This is a very play at your own risk bucket. Recent form 6s, yeah. So I was listening to a podcast that brought this Kazuki Higa guy up. Hey. 83rd in my model because he is 81st in the WGR. Sure. There's some strokes gained stats that he has over at the Asian Tour as well as other European events. You still have to weight those accordingly based off of how easy those events are. If those are raw strokes gained stats, that is such a disservice to everybody looking at those stats. I am going to rank him accordingly. Kazuki Higa, 83rd in my model. Sure. Not terrible. Pretty darn good. However, this bucket says 0 to 2. It really says 0 to 1. If you're going to play Higa, play him at your own risk. I don't think it's a really good choice, but again, it's your money. You can light it on fire however you want to. Higa is just one way to do it. Moving on to, that was our recent form 6 buckets, so we're done with recent form buckets. Let's talk about our salaries, which we kind of already went over talking about the pass optimal and GPP winning lineups. Now, if you're following along with me on the cheat sheet, just open up everybody. So if you have filters on any of these things, just select all for all the golfers that you have in there. Or if you have conditionals, clear those. So we talk about everyone, and then we sort salary top to bottom, and we can kind of start talking about some of these. So every single year that we saw doing the analysis of the optimal lineup versus the GPP winning lineups, we saw a 10K golfer in just about every year. You can see 80% frequency inside the top 10. Last year was the only year we did not see a 10K golfer inside the top 10. Inside the optimal lineup, 60% frequency rate. I had said during the pass optimal and GPP win lineup portion of the preview video, I didn't mind starting with a 10K golfer, especially when you got names like Hatton, Matsuyama, Fowler, and Connors. I think they're all good choices. Matsuyama's my really only concern this week, again, because he conceded without even playing his match against Max Homa last week. He was getting worked on during the match play events because he had a bad back, or a bad neck, I mean. So be cautious playing Matsuyama. I don't mind going to someone like Ricky Fowler. Same goes with Corey Connors and Tyrrell Hatton. I mean, I'm probably not playing Tyrrell Hatton, but he is number one in my model, so I guess, you know, I shouldn't be, you know, too concerned playing Hatton. It's just not a sexy choice, I'm being honest. Now, looking at the other buckets, $9K. It shows 1 to 2. Technically, I want a 2-point gap, so 0 to 2 ends up being the actual projection. But we have a lot of good 9K golfers, and by a lot I mean a couple. I thought we had more. Montgomery, I don't mind going to. Siwoo Kim, I don't mind going to. Same goes with Davis Riley. The only really person I think I'd pump my brakes on is Ryan Fox. I don't care to play Ryan Fox. Kuchar and Chris Kirk, I don't mind playing. So 0 to 2, but the actual projection was 1 to 2. So if you feel so inclined to at least play one 9K golfer, it is in your favor. Buckets are in your favor. 8K, 0 to 2. And I think for good reason. You know, like Cam Davis hasn't been playing very great lately. Thomas Dietrich has. Matt Wallace just won an event. Christian Bezuidenhout, not, I wouldn't say playing his best golf as of late. Really like Ben Griffin. Alex Noren, I don't really care for. And JJ Spawn's your defending champion. So obviously he's played this course pretty decent. And he just played match play pretty hard against some of the top ranked golfers. So I don't mind that with JJ Spawn. I don't mind playing like JJ Spawn. I just don't like the $8,900 price tag. I think it makes building lineups difficult unless you're prioritizing playing JJ Spawn, which I am not. But I don't mind going back to Cam Davis despite his bad, you know, I mean, his bad play was mostly because of an illness. Adam Schenk was just playing well at the Valspar. Don't mind playing him. Davis Thompson probably cautious with, and same with Nikolai Højgaard. And then I'm not going to talk about the rest of the buckets, but that 7K bucket is, well, let's talk about the 7K bucket. The projection says 2 to 4. Remember, round down with this number here in the minimum projection, and then we round up with this max projection. I always look at the conservative max projection, which you don't get to see on the cheat sheet. 2.89 rounds up to 3, so it means I bring this down to a 1 for the minimum projection, although it says 2. And there is a 2-point gap between the actual minimum and the maximum if you round down and you round up. So how I re-envision this bucket, that's the wrong term, but the max still stays 4. 3.52 rounds up to 4. That still stays 4. However, now because I see this is the conservative max projection is 3, I move the minimum down to 1. So really, as I read this, it's 1 to 4 7K golfers to put in your lineup. And I'm not going to talk about them because it's a pretty big bucket. 42 golfers are in it, so no need to talk about it. And then your 6K buckets. I have a higher 6K, which is 6.5 and above, and then I have a lower 6K, which is below 6.5. So it's 6.4 and below. 0 to 2 with the higher 6K, 0 to 2 with the lower 6K, but probably just stick 0 to 1. And you have 78 golfers in that range. So I think, just again, using what we learned from the pass optimal and GPP lineups, we're more likely going to see a ton of 6K golfers inside the top 10 as well as 7K golfers. I wouldn't be surprised if 50% of our top 10 comprise of 7 and 6K golfers. So keep all that in mind. I don't think this is one that the cream rises to the top, but I do think we'll see at least one 10K golfer inside the top 10. I do like the names, unless someone were to withdraw. Like if Hideki withdraws, then I would probably say Yeah, maybe a 50% chance that we see at least one 10K golfer inside the top 10. Probably not two. So build your lineups accordingly. I think if you wanted to put two 9Ks and two 8K golfers in your lineups, I think that's fine. At this event, I think that's absolutely fine. That concludes the salaries. Now, talking about strokes gained buckets, if you're unfamiliar with how I do this, highly encourage you to go check out the video down below. Just go to the strokes gained portion of it. It would take me 5 minutes to explain it. So I rather you just go watch that video and I get to just move on. Try to make this video a little bit shorter. It's already at 1:48, so I guess maybe it doesn't matter. Strokes gained 1. 0 to 2. There are 7 golfers in that bucket this year. I have that here under the strokes gained bucket. And it's all, by the way, it's all color coordinated. So this dark green all corresponds with strokes gained 1. Then strokes gained 2 is the lighter green, so on and so forth. So strokes gained 1, we just said 0 to 2. Yeah, I think you play 0 to 2 there, no problem. I'm going to rapid fire through this, by the way. 0 to 2, strokes gained 2, but really 0 to 1. I think there's probably better golfers in this bucket than those projections imply. But I guess Nikolai Højgaard probably don't... I'm not that confident in him. And really, it's like Montgomery, Schenk, S.H. Kim are really the only golfers that I find any confidence in. The rest of them, not so much. So I guess 0 to 2 / 0 to 1 is an actual good projection. Course history 3s, 1 to 4. I think that's a good projection. It's a very large, like a large gap, but 1 to 4 I think is fine. Starts with Corey Connors, Siwoo Kim, Davis Riley. Those 3 golfers alone, I think, have very high top 10 potential. But then you include Taylor Pendrith, Alex Smalley, Hayden Buckley. I'm not going to include the 3 that I just skipped because I don't really like them this week. Sam Stevens, Benny Ann. So yeah, our projection of 1 to 4. I see 4 golfers I could pair up together pretty darn easily. And then we come down here even more. Will Gordon, Ben Martin, Akshay Bhatia. We talked about MJ Duffy. I like Lee Hodges on Bermuda golf courses. Despite this not really being Bermuda grass, it is in the area that he excels at, or in the region he excels at. Same with Trey Mullinax and Emiliano Grillo. So I don't mind any of those guys. 1 to 4, hard projection, but I think it works. And then I think even a bigger projection than that are these strokes gained 4s, 2 to 5. And that still stays true with even the conservative projection. 2 to 5. Well, I'm probably going with Ricky over Matsuyama. And I don't mind starting Ricky Kuchar, and that's my 2. That's fine. Because I don't really like the rest of the guys that I see right here. Maybe Pearson Coody. He was playing pretty decent not too long ago. 2 to 5. I can make the case for 2 of these guys so far. But I'm not seeing 3, 4, or 5. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we do see up to 5 golfers inside the top 10 from this bucket. So play whoever you think to be fit. Now, it's 0 to 2, strokes gained 5. Robbie Shelton it starts with, then Pat Kazire. These are golfers with kind of bad strokes gained stats. Bad off the tee, as well as bad putting. So that's what includes in the strokes gained 5. 0 to 2 is the projection, but I wouldn't play more than 1. Yeah. I mean, like, Francesco is a decent consideration. I wouldn't mind playing him. I also wouldn't really mind playing Robbie Shelton, who grew up in Alabama, not too far from this golf course. It's the region he's used to. I don't mind playing Robbie Shelton. And then we have 2 guys down here, Chandler Phillips and JJ Wood. Probably just stay away from those golfers. And that concludes the bucket system for the week. Yeah, I even have 0 to 0 for my projections down here when it comes to the strokes gained 6, which is fine. It says, oh, yeah, 6. It includes the 4 open spots down here, which these are open qualifiers, by the way. Forgot to mention that in the tournament information portion of the video. But yeah, we have 4 guys waiting to be added to the roster. All right. That is all that I have for the preview video today. Just a reminder, if you're not signed up on Prize Picks, there is a link in the description below that will get you to the sign up page. And if you sign up using the promo code SweetSpot and put at least $20 in your account, I will give you $20 back. Easy way to play for free. You just put 20 in, you get 20 back from me. Prize Picks will match your deposit up to $100. So now you have 40 in your account. And it really just requires you to sign up and put that initial deposit of $20 in your account while using the promo code SweetSpot. If you didn't already see, I had the cheat sheet available for you guys. Optimizer will be ready for you tomorrow as well. And then the last giveaway, weekly/monthly giveaway. Be subscribed to the channel, comment down below. That gets you entries into both the weekly as well as the monthly giveaway. I'm giving away $50 at the end of the month. If you see the calendar right now as you're watching this, I guarantee you it hasn't turned to April yet. So you still have time to get entries into the giveaways. Just comment on any of the videos that I post this week. That'll get you into the weekly giveaway as well as the monthly giveaway. And if we can get 40 new subscribers within the next 4 days, or really until I do a DFS preview for the Masters, which I'm not sure exactly when I'll do that. Could be Friday, could be Saturday, could be Sunday, could be Monday. I haven't decided yet. I'm sorry for giving you that large range of days. Before I do that preview, we get 40 new subscribers. I'm going to double the $50 that I'm already giving away because we already reached our last goal. I'll make it 100. So, got to hit that 550 sub goal. And then I'll give away $100. Otherwise, we're giving away 50. So if you want a chance to win 50, comment down below. That is all that I have for you guys. So thank you for watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.